Let's give it a couple of minutes and we'll get started, Wade.
Okay. So when are you coming to Guadalajara? Now I can't hear you.
There we go. Thank you. I'll be coming over soon sometime now that I'm a little freer. Okay. Well, why don't we get started? I can see some people are already logged on. So I'm going to introduce you and then you can take it from there, Wade. Well,
Okay.
welcome everybody, whoever is watching. My name is Leonardo Rivas. I'm going to be the host for today. The talk that we're going to have today is called Virtual Reality for Everyone. And this is the first one in our talk series. That's going to take place every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. With us today is Wade Alley, and I'm going to introduce him very quickly. Wade Alley is a professor of English as a foreign language at the Universidad Panamericana in Guadalajara. Wade holds a Bachelor of Arts in German from the University of South Indiana and a Master of Arts degree in German language and culture from Illinois State University. Wade has taught German and English since 1996 and has been teaching English in Guadalajara since 2005. Wade has also taught courses in communications, including a course on documentary cinema at the UP. His professional interests include technology and education, as well as content and language integrated learning course design, research in non-traditional learning contexts, and sustainable learning object design. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to use the comment section. I'm going to monitor that. I will relay those questions to Wade. Wade, thank you very much for being with us today. We really appreciate your talk. And why don't you take over from now?
All right. Thanks, Leo. I hope everyone can hear me okay. If you can't, then let Leo know and he'll let me know and we'll try and figure it out. So welcome to this talk. It's all about virtual reality. I'm going to put up the presentation on this right now so we can just get started. That's as soon as I find out where the button is to present. Okay, here we go. There we go. I hope everyone can see this okay. Let me move you. There we go. All right. My talk is called Virtual Reality for Everyone. And what I thought would be best is if I kind of gave us a bit of a pep talk first and talk about where in history we are and where we're going and where we might end up. So the reality of history is this. Haven't we been here before? I think we have. Maybe not in the same exact context, but we have had these upheavals before. I think we need to start in 1989 now. If you're, okay, I'm old. I was here when this happened. I was in Berlin when the wall came down. And one of the things that I want you to keep in mind is this was a real life-changing thing for a lot of people, mainly in Europe, but it also affected us here in the West. We'll come back to 1989 in a few moments. 9/11, I'm sure you all remember this. I was teaching in a high school when this happened, and I remember telling the kids, guys, your lives will never be the same again. And sure enough, it wasn't. I know you have your own recollections of this and what changed, but we'll come back to 9/11 pretty soon too. 2009, how many of you remember 2009? Well, I don't think we had a big change of our lifestyle after 2009, but we had the swine flu and the avian flu at the same time, and they did cancel the schools here. But it did change a few things, and we'll come back to that too. 2020, you are here. We are in the same boat. But it's not a boat we haven't been in before. You'll notice that in 2020, things have changed a lot more than in the past. I don't think we'll ever go back to school the same way, not like before. And that's troubling. But we'll come back to 2020 as well. So what do all these events have in common? Well, the end of a previous status quo, they accelerate the adoption of technology, and epidemics tend to speed up history and expose social woes, inequality, and everything else. Here's an example that I found. If you don't like Donald Trump, this will probably stick out to you. A more quirky detail of the Spanish flu is that it claimed the grandfather of Donald Trump, Friedrich Trump, thus ceding an inheritance that later became the foundation of the family's property empire. So I'm kind of wondering who's going to be the king of the universe, born in this particular event. But it illustrates a point that it can and does speed up history and technology, and it changes everything. I don't want to read all these to you, but these events have many things in common. First of all, like in technology, in Eastern Europe after the wall came down, these old communist systems couldn't afford to replace their 1930 telephone system, so they went right to wireless. And instead of being 30 years behind, they went 10 years ahead. After 9/11, we didn't travel the same anymore. I don't know if you guys remember anything called Hare Krishnas, do you? They were very big on Eastern philosophy or Eastern philosophy and religion, and they look like Leo a bit, except they wore an orange robes and were waving books around trying to get you to buy them. And then after 2009, we were reminded back then where we were vulnerable to this thing, but hardly anyone listened. And schools and universities closed. I remember this very well. It was only a couple of weeks, but we were back to, normal. Here we are again in 2020. What hasn't changed, and what has changed, and what does it have in common with 1989? What do you think? If you have a comment, please feel free to say something, but if not, that's okay, we can wait. All of this, let me go back. What has changed is we're kind of stuck in our own homes right now. We're prisoners. What hasn't changed is our desire to be with our fellow men, to be together in groups. But with 1989, our whole world has changed. Everything has changed, and we have to accept it. But I think because we are teachers, and because you're here, I hope you're here because you're curious and you want to learn new things. And because we are teachers, we were able to kind of maintain what we had going on, even though we had to do it from our homes. So how many of you are doing things online? I mean, I am, and I know Leo has been, and we're here on a conference online. Was it hard for you people, for you teachers, to switch from a classroom to an online system? I'd be very curious to hear what you have to say about that, because many of my colleagues, even though we've been doing a lot of things online, they found it very difficult to change, and they're still finding it difficult to change. What we're faced with now is this idea of having to rethink how we teach, and we're coming to that in a minute. What we're doing now is not really online. Well, it is online education, but it's not actually an online course. And we're going to come to that. What many of us had to do is take the rest of our year and put it online and hope that the kids would get it. But there is a way of teaching online. It's been around forever. And it started with correspondence courses, and then in the 1960s, it was in computer monitors on the campus of University of Illinois. The Electronic University Network in 1984, Cal Campus, and now these days we have MOOCs like Coursera and edX. If you've not taken a course in one of these, most of them are free. I recommend you try so you can see what exactly an online course could look like. This is the past model of distance education. You could get records sent to your house and learn to dance at home. You could draw a pirate and send it in and have someone grade it for you. You could, the last slide was learn about love at home. And then finally you could learn all about pharmacy. I don't know if I'd want to go to a pharmacist that learned these things like this, but what we understand is distance education has been around for a very long time. And as you saw, the types of courses that could have been taught are still, it's a broad variety of subject matter. This is a screenshot from the current, what we have going on now. It's called a MOOC, it's called the Coursera, and it offers courses from different universities in different places, different countries actually. And I encourage you to go and look. They do things in a very organized fashion because they're MOOCs, which means massively open online courses. I took this course with several thousand other people. And I think the biggest course I've been in had 14,000 students. That's a lot of people. But you end up grading yourself and you end up grading other students. There is no professor per se who's actually watching everything. So 2020, you're still here. You're at home and so are your students. There seems to be no end in sight of this lockdown, though at some point we will return to school. Your options for teaching until then and here on out may include things like blended learning. I know you've heard of blended learning. If you're not aware of what that is, it's essentially where you take online material and in-person material and other things and you just kind of blend it all together. There's flipped learning, which essentially the stuff that a kid can learn at home or a student can learn at home, they learn at home. And the other things, the important things you do in the classroom. Synchronous classes online. A synchronous class means that the teacher is there while the students are in the chat room or in the Moodle or the MOOC, or depending on which platform you use. And then there are asynchronous classes, which are basically classes that can go by themselves. And finally, you have the option of the Frankenstein hybrid class that I think that many of us ended up with something looking like a Frankenstein when we were told, hey, put everything online back in March. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with the Frankenstein class, except maybe it's not as organized as it could be. Here we are accelerating platforms, or accelerating technology. Some of my colleagues said no to Moodle, said no to Classroom. They said, well, I'll just send them emails, which is fine. It's just like a correspondence course. There are a lot of emails you've got to answer. One of my colleagues had like 301 from one class in 1 week. It's a lot. Moodle, that's what my university uses. I recommend it because you can use it in a constructivist approach. And Google Classroom, which in my opinion is mainly a visual file organizer. And then there's Blackboard and other management systems. Of course, I don't know what you guys are using. I hope you'll comment to Leo and let me know what systems you are using. I'm very curious. And those systems are often combined with Zoom, like we're using now, WebEx, Skype, Google Meeting, Facebook Live, and a bunch of others. I'm really curious to know how these options are working out for you. I'm really curious to hear something from you guys. Has it worked out for you, or do you like what you're getting? Do you think you can continue working with this? Is anyone interested, Leo?
On Facebook Live, it's a little off. The timing is not the same. So let's wait just 1 second, see.
Okay, all right.
I don't see any comments, Wade, so we might as well move.
Okay, let's move on. So what 1989 and 2001 and 2009, 2020, all these days have taught me is, one, you need to kind of be prepared for change. It's inevitable. Sometimes it happens faster than before, and sometimes it's really devastating, as we've seen. There will be a new normal, okay? History is happening now, of course. And then it's a great time to play leapfrog. And what I mean by leapfrog is this could be your opportunity to get ahead of the game. And that's why what I want to mention when we talk about virtual reality. We're about to go into a virtual environment, but this is relatively new technology, and you should be willing, I believe, to explore it, because you can move ahead of the rest of the crowd. And the people who will benefit most are you and your students. This is my classroom, and we're going here in a few minutes. I call this my English for Makers virtual fun room. And this is a screenshot of one of the days of my class. They're coming into the classroom, and you can see them lining up here to join in. This is a thing called Mozilla Hubs, and I'll go into a little detail about that in a moment. But suffice to say, it's a lot of fun, and I'm still learning it. Not just the system, but how to work with it, and we'll get right to that. So this is my classroom. It's in Hubs. It's free. It's private, meaning no one else can barge in there unless they've got the link. It is virtual reality. Don't let anyone tell you differently. It is really virtual reality. You don't need special equipment. You just need a browser or a phone or a tablet or even a headset. It will work on almost any modern browser. I'm not sure about what is it, Microsoft Windows or Explorer. I'm not sure about that one. But let's take a look. This is my class in action. Come on now. All right. You'll see that the kids are in there. They're looking around. They've been given a specific mission inside this space. This class was to help them learn vocabulary about music. I was teaching English because frankly, I couldn't have in-person English and music classes. This one was used to help them learn new vocabulary and do a little research and learning about music. And so they're in this little village, and they're moving around on their own, and they've had little assignments like they have to take a selfie of themselves. They have to find the certain videos. And the village itself has been built to show a story that they were given extra credit for if they could kind of figure it out. And I'm going to let you do that too when we go in there. But there is a little backstory here that you have to tell me. And so this is all about communication between the students and with me. But most of it is they're having to construct the knowledge themselves. Again, here's the idea of constructivism. I'm not standing over everyone, demanding they do certain things. I've given them their instructions, and off they went. I'm only watching. And the kids have had some very interesting things to say about it, and I'll show you what one of them said in a few minutes. But I think your kids would, and your students, I shouldn't say kids all the time, some of you have adults, even the adults like this, But I think once you get inside and see how it works, you may find it an interesting way to give a class yourself. Let's see how much time we've got left here. Just a few seconds, we'll finish watching this. There isn't any audio with it. Okay. So VR has been around since the 50s, by the way. There's the sword of Damocles is the first system, and it was a pole hanging out from the ceiling with this enormous headset and like television above your head, and if it fell, it'd crack your skull, hence the name Sword of Damocles. And then it goes all the way up to where we are now with Google Cardboard and Samsung Gear and Oculus, and now Mozilla. Oops. VR in education, there are formal programs. There's Google Cardboard and Expeditions, and you can make your own expeditions. Second Life has been around since 2006. I don't know if anyone uses it anymore because Facebook almost killed it. There's AltSpace VR, Facebook Horizons, VR Chat, but all of those have free options, but many of those options are limited. Second Life used to be you could buy a space in Second Life and have it completely private, but I don't know how it works now. The last time I was in there was a long time ago. And the others do require headsets, which are, as you know, kind of expensive. I did a little research on this topic before. I'm still doing research on this topic, but for today's little chat, I wanted to tell you what's going on now. The current state of study is that I went into Scopus, the academic database, and I found the top 20 articles about foreign language teaching and VR. And they all say the same thing, that increases student motivation, vocabulary growth and retention are really good. But what they don't mention often is that the programs that they use are proprietary and that special equipment is required, if not entire computer rooms. And this is just out of our reach. Here in Mexico, there just isn't any money for this sort of thing. And even when I do ask for money, I usually get laughed at. So this is the way around those issues. Let's see. What these articles also mention is that there's a missing set of guidelines. There are no guidelines, really. No one's written the book on how to teach this way. And for those of you who are interested in special needs education, there is quite a body of evidence that suggests this is very good for kids with autism, for kids who have learning disabilities, for those who have some kind of challenge, the hearing impaired. This could be a very good thing, a good practice. But again, we're stuck with this idea of not enough guidelines. Much research and practice has been inhibited by the cost of VR. And to me, I mean, if you look at all the literature, it clearly could be an asset to language education. And this brings me back to leapfrogging. If you're interested in research, this is a wide open area. And if you're interested in improving your teaching, it's also a wide open area. We're not going back to 2019 anymore. We can't. Things have changed that much, and it's going to be a long time before we can walk into a classroom without our masks on. It's going to be a long time before we can walk back into the classroom with all of our students. So one of the things I would like to find out is how best to implement VR into a lesson. And so far, the thing I found is it requires a different approach to teaching. You have to think from concept to visual, to movement, to like 3D. I mean, you can make this look like a real classroom, but why would you? What does a learning environment actually look like? When we think about our classroom, do we think really that this is the best possible learning environment? You know, in Finland, they've done away with classrooms like we've got. In Finland, you'll find a couch, you'll find soft, comfortable chairs. You won't find a chalkboard anywhere. According to one of my students, and I said I'd tell you this, his first reaction was, it's just like being outside. And now the student's not going to be able to get up and move around, but in the environment, they really can. And I'm about to take you there in a few moments. But before we go to the English for Makers virtual fun room, you should know you can share files in here, play videos, make drawings, spawn 3D objects, take a selfie, record a short video, etc. And when we do go in, I would like you to try all these things out. You can also use your own environment. Mozilla makes a program that's online where you can make an environment just for your classes, like I did. We're going to see what I was talking about what a classroom should look like when we go in the environment. And I think that's a critical question. We can actually take education away from being the teacher-centered experience that most of us do and have, and most of the students experience every day, and turn it into a real or virtual 3D experience. Anyway, there's a program you can use called Mozilla Spokes. It's free, and there are several good videos on YouTube. I put those in the link on this presentation. When we do go to the room, if you can go, you'll, let's see, I gotta move this little screen here. All right. You just follow the link in the instructions. You can do a sound check with your microphone and speakers. You may have to give your browser permission to use your microphone. You'll be asked to get an avatar and put a name. Put your name at the very top where it says name. Well, actually, there is a name there, but you just erase it. And to move around, you can use your arrow keys. I'm going to go in there from this presentation screen, and I'll be waiting for you if you want to come. I know Leo's been in here before. He thought this was pretty cool. We'll go there in a few moments. And finally, this is the end of this part of the presentation, but I did include the links, and we're going to try and transfer a file to you in the room. I've never done it, so it should be, let's hope, it should be okay. And we'll go to the room now, all right? So I'm going to turn off my presentation. Okay, and we're going back to my regular screen. We are in, this is the room itself. And if you'd like, you can just type this into your browser, this link, where it says share room link, and you can go to that room. So if you'd like to go ahead and do that now, anyone, I will wait for you. I can see coming in from up here in this corner.
Wade?
Yes.
Let's give them a couple of, maybe 1 minute so that people
Sure.
can see it. Yeah, okay.
Sure. I'm waiting for people to go in there first. You guys first. I'm surprised there's no questions.
Not yet. People are finding it interesting, great, marvelous.
None of those, he's so boring. Well, Leo, maybe you want to go in there and we can go together. Oh,
Wade,
someone.
can you
Okay.
can you share the link with me in the private chat here in the Zoom so I can share it on our Facebook page?
Okay. Let's see. Copy. And we're putting it where in the private chat? Okay.
Yes. Do you see where it
There you
is?
go.
Okay, one sec.
I just sent it to you.
Okay.
Oh, there are 4 people in there.
There we go. Some people are coming in. You might as well go ahead.
I'm going in. Actually, I'm already in. Let's see, where did everyone go? I know they're in here. All right. Well, I'm going to move around and we'll you can see how it moves. If you use your arrow keys, or you can use WASD. Okay, some people are in the lobby still waiting. Let's see, some other people will be around shortly, I'm sure. Terra Estudijo is somewhere in here. Yeah, we should see them spawning in anytime now. They'll arrive by the helicopter. And there are a couple of helicopters coming in. So, there's Tara. She's in. I see Tara. If Tara moves closer to me, I can hear her. This is spatial audio, meaning that the closer you are, the easier it is to hear you. I'll move over to Tara and see if she wants to talk to me. Hola, Tara. Can you see me? I'm right behind you. You have to turn around. Oh, okay. Hello, can you see me? Can you see me? Hola. All right. You can also chat in the room. Hello, everybody. Sometimes it's easier to just chat, especially at the very beginning. Yeah, it is amazing. It's very interesting. Feel free to look around. If you want, you can take a picture by clicking the camera button at the top of your screen. And you can move the camera around. You can also add things. I'm going to add some, let's see, how about a truck? Well, there we go. Yep. So I've added a truck. I'll throw it over. Oh, I threw it away. It's around here somewhere. So it says that there are 5 people in here. Tara, Sandra Lovely is in the lobby. And Whistling Duck, whoever that is. Make sure you change your name. You'll see that one of the things you will notice is that it can be a little disorienting in this environment. My advice is to have the students kind of go in first and just play and let them get a feel for it. Usually they will say, I don't know what to do for about 2 seconds, then they push a key and then they move. I found that that's the best way to actually get them used to the environment. So Sandra and Tara are having a conversation, taking a picture. Okay. So if you want to, you can, I'll just type it since no one's listening. I don't think they're listening. Let me move away. Maybe that'll help. All right. One of the things about the pictures is you can send it right to your, I'll just mute these guys. Maybe. Maybe not. Right, I'm going to turn off their microphone, my microphone. Let's see. Here we go. Now I'll just mute Tara and Sandra. I'll mute. There we go. And they can hear each other, but I can't hear them. Okay. So about the pictures, you can right-click on them and save them to your computer, or if you have a Twitter account, you can sign into your Twitter account and go right to Twitter. What I'd like to say about this is let your kids go in there and play before you try and do a lesson of any kind. Let them get used to the environment. I didn't put too many restrictions on them about how long they stayed. They stayed as long as they felt. And that gave me a good idea of how much stamina they had when it comes to this environment. First time, it'll be about 20 minutes. They won't be able to take much more than that because it is kind of a sensory overload for kids who have never been in this environment. And frankly, it's a lot going on the screen. Unless the kids are gamers, this is really new to them. So I would like to suggest that you look around and see if you can find the story that I left in here. You have to look in the hills and look in the trees, but you can fly over there using your mouse, or you can right-click your mouse button and teleport. So, sorry, I lost you. Oh, where am I? Everyone's here. Yeah, there's some interesting things going on in the trees. There's some stuff going on behind the church. There's some really bad videos you can click on. If you want to hear music, go ahead. Some of it's pretty bad. I put it in for country music so my kids would understand that we have like bad music in English too. This is pretty bad. Let's see. Whoop, too far.
All right, our next contestant is from Marion, performing Your Cheatin' Hat. Here's Cash Singleton.
Close your ears. Okay. So, yeah. My kids enjoyed the, they didn't enjoy that song too much, but the rest of this, they really had fun in. So, where I think research needs to take place is in how to create a class in this environment and how to make it effective. Who turned on that music? Was that you, Leo?
No,
Okay.
I didn't do it.
All right. Well. All right. So right now, I'm really curious to know what you people are thinking out there. I can't hear you and can't see what's going on. So I think we're at the point where we can start answering questions for you. Do you have any for me?
Okay, let's give people a couple of minutes, see if anyone has any questions. It's only 6:40 right now, and let's see what
Okay.
happens.
All right, we'll move around in the environment a little bit. All these models are available through the building program, and you can do a variety of things in here. You can I can share the screen with other people. Like, oh, I think we'll try and see if we can drag and drop a file in here to make it work. There it goes. I don't believe it. There it is, the presentation, if anyone wants it. It's there in PDF form. And you could also show your presentation in there if you would like. Feel free to grab a copy. I'm not sure how you do that, but let's see. I took a picture. I don't want a picture. I just want it down. Oh, okay. All right. If I click on it, I can get the whole thing. Turn it around. I'm not sure how you get the file out, but we'll see. So, any questions yet?
We don't have questions yet, but I do have some. Okay.
Okay.
And it concerns more about the students. What age groups have you used this with? I'm pretty sure you mentioned it earlier, but I'd like to know what age groups you use this with, and exactly what was the assignment or the objective of that one or of those uses that you've had.
Okay. First of all, I figured out how to get the file. All right. I'll explain that in a second. All you have to do to go to the file is you click on the media button, and then you look for the file, which will be down here, and you click on it, and it'll give you an option or two. You can trash it. I can't see through this. Let's see. What else can I do with it? Oh, wrong one. But you should be able to get it from here. We'll see. Oh, here it is. Try that. There we go. And you just download it to your computer. Okay, to answer your question, Leo, I've used this with high school kids, kids in the prepa 15 and 16. I've had a colleague use this with secundaria kids, and she reports similar results to what I have. I've used this with my university students. They find it interesting. I want to do more with it, and since I have a summer course, I'll probably be using it then. There's a lot that could be done in here. I don't know at all, but there's a lot, right? I would like to try this. I don't know how. I'm not sure kids who are under secondary. I don't know. I'm not sure about kids that age, mainly because I'm not sure. I'm worried about too much exposure to technology at that age. Old-fashioned. And those are the groups I've used. I haven't had any difficulty. The kids seem to like it. You know, the students seem to enjoy it.
That was going to be my next question, which was, what are some of the pitfalls that you've encountered? Some of maybe the learning curve to learn how to use this? I mean,
well, the pitfalls have been, as I mentioned before, that they lack stamina. This is a building up process. It's not like sitting in a classroom passively. Here, they're very active. while they're learning. And sometimes they lose focus on what it is they're supposed to be doing. I had a lot of them running off into private conversation, which is fine. It's like passing notes, I guess. I don't believe I don't believe it was harmful that they did that. They can lose track of what they're doing in here pretty quickly. So whatever you do in here has to be focused, a bit more focused than I did. I recommend that you just let the kids go in and play loosely the first time they're in here so that they get used to it. My first assignment is always for them to take a selfie, to use the pin tool and write graffiti on stuff. Find a gift for somebody in the room using the magic wand where you can download an object like I did with truck earlier. And in general, just getting them used to the environment. You can go in some of these buildings. I've put things in the buildings before. But if you don't have the right equipment, it's really hard to do. And sometimes buildings just aren't very cooperative. So, yeah. I recommend it. I recommend also that when you do these things, you try to think about it in more than one dimension because there's a lot going on. As you can see, there's a lot of space in here, man. You can go all over the place here. I've not been outside the mountains, but you could go, you know. So, any other questions?
I don't see any questions in the chat. Just people are commenting that it's amazing. It's wow. Okay, I have one. Someone just said, did you experience any misbehavior from your students while trying this with them? And if so, how did you deal with it? Is there a way to control it?
Virtual misbehavior. I'm not sure how they can misbehave in here, really. They can't remove anything. They can add plenty of things. It's not like they can hit each other or do any damage. I had a kid write a dirty word, which I quickly erased. I just went to the block up here and found wherever he wrote it, and I just erased it. You know, you'll have kids. Kids are like kids everywhere. You know, if they don't want to participate, they're not even online. If they don't want to participate, they're just not going to. What I do like about this is there's no hiding in here. I can find these people by clicking on them. I can, if they're not here, you know automatically that they're not here. So I'm not sure what kind of discipline problems they would have. I can't think of any real issues. And to deal with it, you know, you just say, you could give if you feel like a kid isn't paying attention, you give them a more specific task. You know, and this is a whole world. So the tasks that you provide could be moved to the left by 10 seconds using your mouse, and then look up the hill and look for treasure or something. You know, you can put a lot in these things that will keep them very, very busy. When I had the whole class in here for this treasure hunt and this scavenger hunt and this learning situation, they were in here for a good hour and a half. They were working. Some of them get tired and just leave. But those who stayed, they were exempted from the next quiz. So that left like 5 kids having to do the quiz and wondering why they were singled out. Well, I explained to them it's because you left early. I exempted everyone who stayed, and you didn't stay. So that's how yes.
Sorry, I have a couple other questions.
Okay,
Leticia Juarez asks if she needs the Mozilla browser.
No, I'm using Chrome.
Okay, and Tere.
I don't recommend Safari though.
Okay, Tere Studio asks, can you go inside the bar? Can you go inside the stores?
You can. Let's see. I'll go in. I don't know if I've left anything in the inside the dining car here, but we'll see what we get in, if we can go in. I may have to teleport in. Teleport. What you need to do is use your right mouse button, and we'll see if we can get in that way. Yep. We're inside. Oh, there's Pee Wee Herman. I forgot to take him out. And there's the kitchen, and it's right inside the building. Now, the thing about this is you can sometimes get stuck in here, which may be a good or bad thing depending on how much you like the students. You can go in the church, the bar, the barn. You just have to use your right mouse button and look for you see the green thing there? That's me teleporting in, and I can move. It'll move to wherever that is. You can go in near the barn, I guess. There. And I'm in the barn. And to get back out, I have to teleport again now. So there. That's how you get in and out. And you can put stuff in there. I think that's a good thing, you know. That's kind of an interesting thing for them to do. If you're worried about discipline, they'll probably run into these little bars and barns and have their private chats and everything. But once they're in, you know where they are. You can find them very quickly. Anything else?
Not right now. There aren't any questions. People are just saying how cool, thank you. Just comments of that sort.
There's some really good videos on YouTube about this. This is reasonably new. It's like 2 years old, and Mozilla is a little behind in getting the documentation and everything. But I would recommend going in and seeing the little, videos about it. There were some things that I didn't know about it, but then again, it's new. They keep adding new things. So I encourage you to give it a try at least. Your kids will thank you for it, because it's not like being online in class in Moodle or in Zoom, right? So I highly recommend it. Give it at least once, try at least once, and I think you'll see what I'm talking about how you have to really think in a different way if you want to teach in here. And it's not that I think in a different way, it's just this is the best I could do for now. I'm still learning.
I have another one.
Yes.
Daniela Cisneros, she asks, do you know what works for mobile devices to get into the store? I can't do it. You should be able to get into it. I've done it on my Android through Chrome. If you're on an iPhone, I would definitely try Chrome or Mozilla for iPhone. Yeah, I haven't had any problem with that. The phone's a little different. You have to kind of tilt it and swipe and left, right, and up, down with your phone. I don't think. I've not had any problems. Can Daniela? Maybe she could tell us what kind of phone she's on. I'm going to ask her 1 sec.
Okay.
I guess while she replies, you can make some final remarks about this, some concluding remarks.
Well, sure. To conclude, I'd like to say that we teachers don't have much in the way of resources in Mexico. But that doesn't mean that we can't get ahead. It's important to understand, I think, that we're not just teaching the kids anymore. Now that we're at home, we have the parents. It would be a good thing for the kid to go into the dining room one night and say, "We were in virtual reality today." I I think it's also good that our supervisors hear that we've been doing something that they've never done before with the kids, and it's so natural. It's important that we consider our future as teachers, the future of education, the future of our kids. This is it. And we have at our disposal a means of making something so very memorable that we owe it to ourselves and to our students to at least try it. It's not often that we who have nothing can actually jump ahead of those who have everything. So my advice would be to give this a shot. Think about how you would want a classroom in this or a class in this environment to be. It doesn't have to be the teacher-centered. It can be more constructivist. It can be more student-oriented. And I think this is a good environment, a good way to make it happen. So I strongly encourage you to give it a try. It's a great chance to discover something completely new. You know? We don't get this opportunity very often as teachers. It's always Harvard, it's always Cambridge, or Columbia. It could be us. So I invite you to give it a try. I'm dying to hear what you do with it. I think you have some wonderful opportunities here. So I think that's my final thought, Leo.
Okay, very well, Wade. Thank you so much for such a wonderful presentation, for presenting this tool to everybody. I hope that the viewers will take the risks and try to use this, incorporate it into their classroom. I think that it would add variety to their class. It would add variety to what they're doing. Right now, we're all used to using Zoom, Google Classroom, those types of platforms. And this is a great opportunity to do something different inside of all of that. And I think it's very engaging. I can definitely see middle school children or high school kids enjoying this. But when you showed it to me last week, I was blown away. I was like, oh my goodness, we can create a story here. This can be I can do a written assignment right now. I can do an oral activity. People can upload their PowerPoint presentations here and show everything here instead of the usual medium. So I think this has a lot of potential. Wade, thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you.
My pleasure. Again.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to invite you again, because every single year you're onto something new and it's advanced. You're like this visionary inside of VLT. And I think that more people would benefit from listening to you, Wade. Thank you very much. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. We hope to see you next week. Remember, every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, we have our perspectivas contemporáneas sobre la enseñanza y el aprendizaje del inglés. Thank you very much, everybody, and see you next week.
See ya.
Wait, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm